preserving liberties, blessings for every future generation. One day I was campaigning with a friend running for office, and a young man came up to me and said, "What is the intent of the founders?" I said, "Wow, what a question. I never heard that before." And I said, "To triumph over tyranny." And that's exactly what they did when they gained victory in a war of independence in order to gain the full measure of our freedoms. What is tyranny? In the dictionary it says, it's government oppression. And I say, that's true, but it's more than that. Tyranny is a tool to use a mandate of a governance through submission, conquest, domination, and then extinction. Hatred is their tool, rule of law, to exterminate what they consider parasites, infecting their fascist and evil-embracing world order, which is in direct contrast to the concept promoted by our founding fathers. Now, when we think of tyranny, we always think, who is right? Who's supporting the Constitution? That's all. But when we go into court, we say, everyone's equal under the law. But there's something that we never question. What produces politicians and people of nations that would turn to tyranny to destroy each other? So the question comes, where does tyranny arise from? What is the seed that provides its roots for the source of their nourishment? The Bible introduces us to the destruction that ensues through tyranny, when man, instead of honoring the sovereignty of God, uses his mortal power, demanding allegiance to him instead of God, as he fashions God in his own image. These are the false idols that our children are worshiping now in the Democratic Party. These dominions of oppression that carry the seeds of rebellion are found in every fascist totalitarian nation: Russia, China, Cuba, North Korea. These are the godless nations that would deny your God-given rights endowed to us by our Creator. Their Constitution's rule of law is tyranny. Our Constitution's rule of law is a declaration of war on tyranny upon those who would come to power, strike down our amendments that secure our freedom, then eternally bound us to tyranny's post. The phrase "under God" was incorporated into the Pledge of Allegiance in June 14, 1954, by a joint resolution of Congress amending the No. 4 Code, enacted in 1941 to defend against the spread of communism. With the attack from our present administration, who are determined to shred our Constitution, it's now time to make defending our Constitution as part of our alleged allegiance to keep our nation one nation under God. It's now 70 years later, and we're facing a godless communist insurrection. Like those who changed the pledge in 1954, I knew that there was something missing in our Pledge of Allegiance to make sure that we remain one nation under God. That is why I added the Constitution upon which our free republic stands. George Washington said, "The Constitution is the guideline I will never abandon." While we may never be able to repay the debt we owe to our military, we must ensure they did not serve in vain. That is why we, the people, the recipients of their valor, are duty-bound to consecrate their lives with our eternal pledge to protect the Constitution of the United States of America, the foundation upon which our free republic stands. Only then can we continue to enjoy their hard-won and our guaranteed freedoms. That is why before every meeting, we should recite this final revision of our Pledge of Allegiance. So every day we go forth with the all-consuming pledge to defend the Constitution of the United States of America from this enemy from within. They are determined to destroy our foundation along our free republic list. President Kennedy said in his inaugural address in 1960, "With good conscience as our only reward, with the seeds of rebellion we find in our Judeo-Christian history, the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead this land we love, asking His blessings and His help, but knowing here on earth God's work must truly be our own. It is our Constitution and its laws that connects our power to the source that keeps our free republic intact. This power source provides the spiritual component that connects the souls who do God's work here on earth. This stance against tyranny finds its root in our American biblical point of departure that defines America's core values and sustains the lifeblood of liberty's degrees. Our rule of law is the power source from which our nation gains its strength, its invincibility, its clarity of purpose, its moral purpose. This rule of law is a power source from which our nation gains its strength, its invincibility, its clarity of purpose, its moral compass, and its indomitable, enduring spirit. It is our core value, the glue that binds us to liberty's decrees. This one principle is the unifying principle that keeps our free republic intact, and why every American citizen, and certainly every American elected official that represents our nation, must thoroughly understand what it means. The proper application of our rule of law instantly dissolves any misunderstandings, confusion, or misguided notions about any policy or law that steers us away from our nation's noble cause. Trying to explain the purpose of our existence, or to make why we are great again, without bringing clarity to the Constitution's rule of law, is like giving a flashlight to a blind person to help them find their way out of the darkness. It will become obvious without the basic understanding of the Constitution's whose rule of law secures the foundation upon which our free republic rests. Our ship of state will eventually be ripped from its moorings and list aimlessly among the waves. If our politicians are unable to properly elucidate what is our rule of law, how can they articulate what America stands for either? We then have to ask ourselves, why were they elected? What are they swearing an oath to? If they do not believe our rule of law, our stance against global tyranny is our constitutional mandate, and why they took an oath to uphold the Constitution. No nation can continue to exist without some oath of allegiance that identifies their protocol. Why does this oath have such a powerful impact on the nation? Because it provides the simplest, most concise format for capturing the essence of a nation's convictions that all citizens can rally around. That is why one's oath of allegiance is such a powerful agent in determining the history of a nation and their impact on the world now and in the future. What we give our allegiance to as a people defines what we stand for and what we will defend against. It represents the individuals of our nation, even to the extent of risking their lives in a war to defend its principles. The essence of this allegiance is revealed in the simplest form by the pledge that citizens give to their country and their flag. This pledge leaves no doubt to what position each nation takes among the world concerning their type of governments that they embrace to protect their citizens' right or lack of. That is why the final revision of our Pledge of Allegiance must be recited in our children in our schools across the nation. Of course, we must teach civics. Of course, we must teach the history of our country. But you can only secure liberty's blessing in every generation when our children recite this pledge every day. Because then they will know what the Constitution is, they will know what the rule of law, and they will know why we are one nation under God, and we can secure liberties pressing against those demons from hell that would come and steal our governance and shred our rule of laws and change it to their own. Then you will lose all your freedoms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Constitution for which our free republic stands. One nation, under God, indivisible, free from tyranny, and justice for all. Thank you very much.